let's just get started. Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll just use this one. Cool. So today is our last day of the week doing our morning wellness until next week. Let me know in the comments, how have you been enjoying the morning wellness sessions? Do you enjoy it? Should they be shorter, longer? Let me know. It's been really great having the same people kind of come through and then seeing new faces as well. So thanks for joining us if you've been doing them every morning with me. Feel free to share also for other people to join. So for today's morning wellness, it's just going to be a really quick session. So today's session, so we've done meditation, we've done taking some walks, we've done acupressure points and finger holding for anxiety, fear, and all these different complicated emotions that on that day we agreed that we weren't going to either say that they're good or bad, we were just going to accept. Today what I wanted to talk about a little bit, since a lot of us are stuck at home or maybe some of you are at work, the importance of having a sacred space or just a special space that you're able to revisit throughout the day, that is just your space, that you have the ability to change and shift with your moods and your energy and your place in time. I have an altar in my room. And you can add anything to the space. It could be an altar. You can have a table and it's all done up and set up. It can also just be a shelf. It could be a shelf in your room or in your living room that you pass by often. It can be a small little corner that you just do your meditation at every day with just a small pillow in the corner. It can be a table that you use to do your art. And the purpose of this space is for you to be able to revisit it whenever you are feeling stressed out or anxious or not feeling so great, or even when you're feeling really great, just a place to visit when you want to escape a little bit. And you can add anything you want to this space. You can add photos, you can add plants, flowers, you can add stones and crystals, you can add a stone that you found on the beach that morning on a walk, or it can be a photo of you and your grandparent or of your partner or of your dog. You can add, like I mentioned, fresh flowers or plants, that's your favorite. What would you like to add? So now that you're hearing me share, what would you, if you have one, first of all, if you already have a sacred space in your house, what do you like to add to it? Or what's on your altar or in your space? If you'd like to share, I'd love to hear what other people are doing. So like I mentioned, for those of you who are just joining, we're talking about having a sacred space in our homes, or it could be outside too. You can have your meditation spot outside, or maybe your sacred space is just your garden. Hi. So what do you all have in either an altar, or what is a spot that you're now realizing that is a sacred space to you in your house that you didn't even know was? And now that you hear me talking about this, you're like, oh yeah, that's the spot that I like to go to kind of take deep breaths or meditate, or kind of make sure that I keep clean all the time because it makes me feel good. Anyone? I'll share in the meantime what I have. I have photos. I like to keep fresh water and fresh flowers. I like, hi Chardonnay, we're talking about having sacred spaces in our homes and what that looks like for different people. It's different for everyone else. I like to have plants. I have lots of plants in a huge table, and they're all different varieties, and I like to take care of them, and it kind of just allows me to take a deep breath in my everyday schedule and make sure that they're okay and watered. I also have an altar that I like to take care of. And altars can be different things for different people. It can be a space for prayer, and for other people it can just be a spot that they like to go to meditate, or a spot that they like to see clean all the time because it makes them feel good. Sirenita saying a candle, a figuring of the Virgencita, photos, and sage, copal, and cedar. That's beautiful. And Sirenita actually shared some of her wisdom earlier this week, and if you want to see a little bit more about that, it's on our IGTV, I believe. If not, it's on our regular Facebook feed. Yes, it's important to interact with our altars often and keep them clean. That's very important, because if you just, let them go. I like to keep a nice clean cup of water on my altar, and that water dries up sometimes, and sometimes I forget that water dries up, so I have to constantly refill that water and pray to that water and give it that energy or that prayer that I'm searching for. Horsed ivy, got a space outside next to a garden that is kind of a dome of branches and wisteria that is starting to flower. Beautiful. Like I mentioned, some people like to be outdoors, and that's their sacred space. And I would love to sit in a dome of branches. It's really comforting, and it kind of feels like you're getting a huge hug from nature, right? Chardonnay says stuffed animals and pictures. Yeah, I love that. Yes, stuffed animals that either you got for yourself or other people got you, and photos of friends and family or of pets. That's also really important to have. It's like your own special sacred space of stuffed animals and pictures. That's great. And it's always important to make sure that we try our best to keep those spaces clean and taken care of. I'd like to think that they hold sacred energy, so the more that we take care of it, the more it takes care of us. Your pigs, yes. Pigs are sacred. When you go feed your pigs, Shar, yeah, that's a sacred space. That's beautiful. And I'm sure they're so grateful for you too, because you get to give them alimento, you get to feed them, and they grow thanks to you. Ra Moon says crystals and pictures of loved ones. Yes, what's your favorite crystal, Ra Moon? Yes, photos of loved ones. Those photos always make us feel really nice and really good. Different crystals have different properties, if you believe in that. Some people, not so much. What else? What else does everybody have on their altars or a sacred space? So for those of you who are joining us, we're speaking about sacred space and holding sacred space for ourselves in our homes. Black tourmaline, yes, black tourmaline is a beautiful crystal. It's really protective. Some of us have photos on our altars or around our sacred space. For some of us, our sacred space is just a pillow to meditate on, and that's more than enough. For some of us, it's outdoors, underneath branches and trees. And like, I'm going to scroll down to that comment that Irene mentioned earlier. So it's important to interact with our altars often and keep them clean. If you do have an altar, interact with it, because it doesn't want to be forgotten. Even just having clean space. I know for me it's really hard to keep my spaces clean often, just because I do get very anxious. I'm a very anxious human being, and I don't make time to clean those spaces. So when I do clean those spaces, it does feel kind of like ceremony for me, and just kind of like shedding. So make sure, if you can, to keep your spaces clean as much as you can. Interact with those spaces, show them love, burn that cedar. Oh, Colibri is saying, my bedroom, I have my religious altar with a candle, holy water, photos of loved ones, religious figurines, and prayer. When I can, I add flowers. This gives me peace and keeps me grounded. Yeah, so that's the point. The point, thanks for mentioning that. The point of a sacred space is just to feel peaceful and to have the opportunity to go to a separate space and just reconnect with yourself and feel grounded. And for a lot of people, that is religious figurines, and that's beautiful. I'm glad that you have that space. Hi, Dirty Girl Produce. Welcome. We're just talking about sacred space and holding sacred space and what that looks like for everybody else. Colibri just mentioned that she has her little altar, her little space on with candles and holy water. Someone else mentioned earlier that they use crystals, and then someone else says that they burn a lot of herbs like cedar and copal. And then I mentioned earlier that I like to have fresh flowers whenever possible as well. And I like to have photos. And I in my altar, in my secret space, I like to write myself a little note and a little letter to myself and to whoever's hopefully supporting me in my journey through life. And someone else mentioned that they like being outdoors and under a tree, and that really works for them. So that's great. Thank you everybody for joining us, those who are coming in a little later. So I am coming to a close. This was going to be a quick one today. It was only 10:30, 10:45, 15 minutes. But it was really nice spending this whole week with you every morning. I'll be back next week, starting on Monday, hopefully, unless we have some youth who want to participate and hold this space for us on our Instagram page. I hope you liked the morning wellness, and it was nice having you all join me. Send any messages or comment on this if you'd like to see more. Thank you all for those who participated. Keep it up, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.